Advisory Council. Anyone jumping in? June 15, 2020.
Julie, I'm not sure I ever heard you do an attunement.
Sharon?
You never heard me do an attunement?
I thought maybe if I said that, it might prompt you to do that.
Oh, well, Shelley pointed to you, John, so I think that you saying that was you jumping into, because
No, she did not.
Who's pointing to?
she's
I
to you.
I finally got there, so I could do it now if you want.
Okay, Sharon, you're it.
All right, great. All right, so everybody just close your eyes if you like, but we'll just take a couple of breaths. Bring ourselves right into the heart. Just feel that shift as you breathe right into the moment. Feeling that life energy flowing through you. Connecting to each other through our wonderful Zoom medium, which actually through the ethers. Just giving ourselves that moment to drop right into the present. Bring our hearts fully here. Feeling our feet on the ground, on the floor, connecting down through to the earth. So grounded, hearts open. Breath up into the crown chakra. Feeling that open for wisdom and our connection to spirit to flow clean and pure. Bring all that beautiful nature energy in. And just resting in that resonance, we'll open our eyes and see all these beautiful faces and come together.
Thank you, Sharon.
Welcome.
So much moving in the field. Let's do a 3-minute check-in and come together in voice in that way. So we're open. Let's do a check-in. 3 minutes each, that meant. I doubt we could do a 3-minute total.
Let's just try to see. There's John. Okay.
Okay. I'll start since I am now on my screen to the right of Julie. Anyway, wow. LaBelle and I went up and had 4 or 5 great days on the lake. Beautiful place, magical. As a matter of fact, Sharon, we thought about, because there was at least a half a dozen or 8 or 9 different species of birds, and we thought about recording them and sending it to you so you could tell us what the heck we were listening to. You'd have loved it. It was just a cacophony of beautiful birds, springtime birds, along with a infestation of moths, which we know what those sound like, so you didn't have to do that. But anyway, it was very relaxing, and it was totally off grid, offline, and reconnecting with nature, and had a couple of great insights, experiences, and so it was so wonderful coming back into the field morning and really feeling that connection again. You know, I mean, it's an amazing thing we're doing. I really being away from it for a little bit and then coming back and seeing that full tapestry of people with that heartstring, that gold thread in that connection, and everybody feeling love. It was just really a wonderful piece to know, and to really get in that trust of, you know, not only is it a group of folks that would like to hang out together, but that really are deepening into a cohesive, unified field. And it was very evident, and that was beautiful. I appreciate being part of it. And LaBelle and I were talking about a retreat. Like we got to have a retreat at some point, you know. No, maybe November, December, I don't know, whatever. But I'm pretty happy, although I am feeling a little sluggish. It's like post vacation, give me 2 days of recuperation. But besides that, it was good. And love you all, and I'm complete.
Okay, so that sparked in me, thank you, John, that it's so important for us to all really take that time and do that. So I think it was very healthy for Shelley and John, or excuse me, LaBelle, LaBelle, to be gone and reconnect and bring that different vibrational frequency back to us. And I think every month, one of us, or two of us, if you're a couple, should take the time off and unplug everything. I mean, I'd love to do that. And then come back refreshed, where we've got each other's backs and we can leave, and we can leave our responsibilities for 3 or 4 days and know that others will take the reins. So I love that idea. My check-in is that I'm just like in the wake of the boat of John and LaBelle, and feeling their, as John was talking about this morning, this 3D multicolored dimensional world of sight beyond the 2 physical eyes. So I'm sort of floating along in that as well. A couple things for, well, I don't know if we're talking about agenda, but my check-in is that I had a good week. I just, you know, good week, bad week. It's not whether it was good or bad. It's just there's so much happening in the world that I think Michelle said it this morning, you know, your emotions are up and then they're down, and then they're this way and you're that way. And in the midst of all of that, I feel really centered. In the midst of that, moving all around like that, I feel very grounded and very centered in it. And I thank the field and all of you for that. The times that I've been in the connection field have been awesome. Reuben George did not show up at all Thursday night, and so we didn't know how to find him. So there were a couple little glitches, but you know, hey, everybody was okay with it. It's just how it was. Philip Scott was the first time he was on, and it's really interesting that for somebody brand new, they're not quite in the feel of a reciprocal understanding of what the field feels like. So they'll start off saying, I want this to be interactive. And then he talked for 1 hour and 45 minutes without letting anyone say anything. So it was good. It was good though. I mean, what he had to offer was nice, but I think hopefully we are moving into that place of knowing that you know, the pedestal has fallen, and each one of us is not standing on that pedestal anymore because it's not there. And it's not that we know anything more than anyone else. I am so in awe of the wisdom that's coming through, and the beauty and the authenticity and the different cultures, and it's just beautiful. So I'm feeling really good about the connection field and what's happening. And the only thing on the agenda is the calendar to move some things around. And otherwise, thank you, Julie, for sending that. I was having a little bit of problem with my good of the whole email because I tried to send that video to Philip so many times that it is still, after 4 days, it's still just going around. I can't get it to reset. So I'll call Tim and we'll get that worked out. Other than that, no big deals, no problems. So
I think you can take it out of your outbox. I just want to throw that in.
I'll
Go to-
try.
If it's trying to continually send it, go into your outbox and delete it.
Okay, I'll try
I
that.
think, and then before you call Tim, because it may just take care of it.
I thought I was trying to do that, but I'll try again. I'm complete.
Well, I'll jump in. And Marion and I went out on Saturday night and played Mexican trains, dominoes with like 8 people. It was like, yeah. Dinner, dominoes. Well, we had a great time. And then yesterday we went to a birthday party for one of our reverends at the Center for Spiritual Living, and had an outing at the on the beach with about, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 people. You know, hugs all around. We're like, okay, let's party, let's get loose here. So we're just like, you know, we're on this island. There have been no cases here in over 2 months, and you know, anyway. So, you know, we're doing well. We had a really nice 24/7 couples gathering on Saturday, and that's a nice event activity for people, and for us. And you know, the Ohana Legacy thing keeps evolving and moving forward. It's speeding up. So maybe you'll have a little agenda item for that in a little bit. So I'm complete.
Want to jump in, Sharon?
Yeah, I'm trying to find my mute. Okay. So yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm happy to be here with you guys because I've had some conversation with Shelley, and I had a conversation with Julie. And Julie, I didn't get a chance to read what you sent out before the meeting, but it looks like you did a lot, you know, to update what you had there. And I'm looking forward to talking about that or seeing that, getting into that a little bit deeper. But personally, I'm good. We saw the grandson again over the weekend. It's all good. We've had friends over, so we've broadened our circle a little bit. Although everybody's still doing social distance here, which we still have lots of cases, so we have to be careful. And a lot going on, but I actually kind of resonated with what Linda said about it. Feeling pretty centered in the midst of things, so I'm good. I'm complete.
Oh boy. I tried to social distance from Brocketto, but it didn't work. I'm here, and for me, the time away was vital. And it wasn't really time, it didn't feel like time away. It felt like more just being immersed in life at another level. And I just found like I couldn't even brought a book, but couldn't even read more than a line. That was about it. It was all about unraveling and just coming back to 0 point, coming back to that place of deep connection and love of nature. And and just every time getting in the water, it would just felt like it was just washing away anything inhabiting my consciousness except for the connection and the love. And so and coming back to, I had the same experience that John had. It was just I was so, I feel not even then, I feel so grateful, like you were saying, Linda, just to know that people had my back. And it wasn't that they just had it because they had to. It was like, it was a joy, and it was an empowerment. And I think that's something that I want to take forward is, that really, I mean, it was a lot to go. Like, I busted all the way for days trying to make it happen. But I did learn something really important and about empowering people, and um, and the joy of that empowerment. So I think there's more to come around that, and I don't want to be on anymore so much like that, like I have been. Um, I want to level out and level out, like, so that it's and I think what the connection field has shown me is that it can happen, and there's enough people coming in now. And so tomorrow there's a connection field team meeting, and I got to get an email out, and just really look how to delegate more. And but I'm very grateful to all of you, and thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't know what happened with Reuben George, and I don't know why it happened. And I'm glad that it happened miraculously. In some ways, it happened simultaneously, because I remember, Glenn, you were taking care of Reuben, and you should have been on it and called him or figured. And maybe I did. Again, it's a learning lesson, and I think some of these things that are coming up are helpful that they're happening now in the beginning, and to ground out. But also, the thing with Philip Scott, I mean, wow, I don't even know how that happened, because I spent hours and hours and hours moving Henry so that Philip could have what he wanted, and somehow moved him into the wrong spot. So, again, that's my piece. So, which I've already sent him an email and a message, and I'll clear it up. So, yeah, I'm just, I think what I love about the connection field also is that it's a modeling of imperfection. It's like we can be okay with it not going exactly as, as planned, and people are learning how to, or I'm learning, I don't know, how to, even being away, it was amazing to me how we drove in and we had internet, and then we didn't even have any internet anymore. So it was, I feel what really is happening here is the field is expanding, and the universe has our back. And that's a beautiful thing. And that's what people are getting. And they're getting, like has been said, and Julie has said, Julie and I talked, and, really people are feeling so like they are embraced and belong, and they can be their full expression. I mean, exactly the mission of Good of the Whole is happening. And that's pretty amazing. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for allowing this to happen. And, yeah, got to hold space for each other to have that experience. Except for Glenn, because he lives in Aloha land all the time. Anyway, love you. Thank
you. I'm feeling pretty centered amidst the chaos and pain as well. I want to, Shelley, you said level out, and I don't know if you meant to say this, but what I heard was love all out. And that was a beautiful piece to hear, is the things are love all out piece. I've had some health issues over the last several months, and it feels like my body is in a really good love all out place right now. So that feels really good. And the time away with Shelley and John, but with the connection field, it was beautiful. It was sweet. I was on more than I imagined I would be on, because I knew Shelley had this schedule, and I knew that I would be a backup and hold the field, but it was literally, I was there throughout every day for the first 3 days, holding hands and cheerleading and encouraging, and it was beautiful. Those who stepped up did a beautiful job. And so much else is happening in the world, and so much goodness is happening in the world, and at the same time, these beautiful opportunities. Just over the weekend, had mixed company, and someone said, "Oh, look at the 2 Black kids on the jet ski." And I just looked at him with a funny face, like, "Did you just really say that?" So the person corrected itself. I won't say gender. The person corrected and said, "Oh, am I supposed to say colored people?" I said, "No." And the person said, "What do I say?" I said, "You could say, look at the 2 kids on the jet ski." And so these really beautiful opportunities of growth are happening in so many different places. And this conversation then after that moment, there were 6 adults sitting there in deep conversation, and some of the most stubborn people who are so narrow-minded were just opening into conversation and holding the whole idea, while they're holding conspiracy theories of Black Lives Matters, that Hillary Clinton, it's like into this place of, oh, we could just say, look at the kids on the jet ski. So it was a several-hour process of opening hearts and creating spaciousness in our minds and our beliefs, and looking at our white supremacy and our ignorance and our intolerance. And then Friday night, I don't know why I'm bringing all this in, but it feels relevant to our mission and our vision, is then Friday night, been another shooting in Atlanta, and in the same company it was, well, he was running away, he was resisting arrest, he was totally justifying murdering a Black man for sleeping in his car drunk, resisting arrest. It was okay to murder him because he didn't just stand there and take it and be arrested. And it's okay to murder someone. What if it was your child? So these teachable moments, these pieces of good of the whole, like how do we really create a world where every individual feels valued, connected, and whole? Not looking at the backstory and just like totally defending the other side of that. It was amazing how both of those pieces were in that dialogue with 5 pretty much stubborn minds that don't look outside the box. We're really getting good medicine over the weekend. It was important. So I did have a beautiful session with Sharon, thank you, that was clarifying. And then I felt so good after that session, and then I like dropped a few pieces inside of me of just looking deeper into some of the pieces that we were working on. And the document that I sent you isn't new, it's more than a year old. I just update it every once in a while. I go into that business plan and tweak, and so I'm going to go over that a little bit more. But I also heard, so I'm going to ask for agenda items now, and I want to also presence that I'm going to go help my son with my 2 little munchkins at 5 o'clock. So when in an hour and a half, I'm going to leave a few minutes early. I'm going to close the meeting, or you guys can go on without me, but I need to leave about 5 minutes before the hour. So I heard a calendar tweak. I don't know if that's what you and Shelley were already talking about, Linda, but I have a calendar tweak. I have an Ohana Legacy Foundation update. I have a World Unity Week update. I have the retreat conversation. I don't know if we'll have time and want to spend time doing that. And Julie's going to be gone Thursday through Saturday, or Sunday through Thursday through Sunday. Update. And there's one other thing that I wanted to add, but I do want to go over that document and organizational structure. So what was it? It was right after Unity, the Ohana Legacy update. Oh, I'll just do it. Yes, Shelley, what?
The Wholeness Day.
Yeah, I have that World Unity Week. Yeah, Wholeness Day. But then, no, there was another one right after I said Ohana. In my mind, I went, oh, I need to. But
Do we have the Mentoring Stewards new document up?
on the website, no, we
on
do
the
not.
website?
Let's talk about that too. So let's go through many of these as quick as we can, and if they take too much conversation, we'll table them, because I do want to work on the organizational structure a bit. But I'll just give you a brief update with Ohana Legacy Foundation. As our DBA, I received a document in the mail, and it said applicant, and I had put Julie Kroll, president, good of the whole, and they sent it back and said, you have an individual and an organization as the applicant. So what do you want? And I'm like, oh my gosh. I just signed it as Julie Kroll, president of the board. So got to resend that in, Glenn, but other than that, there's no big deal. They're holding the funds. So they didn't reject it. They just want clarification. They literally want me to just erase my name and put good of the whole as the applicant on there. So that's fine. And so with that, if you have some quick updates, Glenn, let's go with that since we're on that topic.
Okay. Well, we have a foundation that's currently considering maybe donating a site to us. That's continuing in process. I've done a lot of work on creating a 2-page executive summary, which probably I just had a thought I probably should just send to all of you guys so you can just see what the executive summary is. And I've got if I can share, can I do a share screen? Can you allow me to share screen, and I'll show you
I wonder who changed my settings, because I sure didn't. Yes, let me get this for you.
Okay.
There you go.
You ready? Yes, disable. Let's see if I can do the share screen now. There we go. I'll show you. Can you see this? Wait, maybe not.
Yeah, we saw
No,
it.
let's see.
And
Hold
now
on.
it's a black screen.
Now, hold on. Let me go back and get it again. Let's see. How did I do that? Let's see.
Looks like a banner. Is that your banner, your logo?
Yeah, it's our logo. Now, where did it go, though? Let's see. Doggone it.
Do you want some feedback?
I'm trying to
While
figure it
you're
out.
looking?
Yeah, sure.
I would just say perhaps, and I will be happy to help you with this, Glenn, that perhaps the Ohana with that O match the font that we have. Then you could do Legacy Foundation in more of a script if you wanted, but to create that, it just looked funny with the script and the O's so not italic and not sitting over. So I'd be happy to help you with perhaps Ohana, Legacy Foundation, a good of the whole, something, we'll figure that out, but I'd be happy to do that.
Excellent. Well, that would be just perfect.
Can you find it again, or do you want to? I think everybody saw it, Glenn. Did everybody see it? Yeah, we all saw it.
You all saw it? Okay.
Yeah, before it disappeared and went black, we saw it.
Well, maybe I'll forward that to you. Would that be the right thing to do?
Sure.
Because there it is. Now I've got it up. Now I think I can share it again. Yeah, there it is. There we go. Can you see that now? So
Yeah.
you're thinking make that do something with that.
Yeah, to me, it doesn't read Ohana because it's the first letter of the Ohana.
Right.
And then because it's a round circle, it doesn't turn with the italics. So to me, it's not working because it needs to look more like the good of the whole. and the O in the hole is set between letters, so it does look like an O. So we have to work with it a little bit so that it takes on the O feeling if you want to use that logo. And I can help you with that.
Now,
Anybody else
here's
need feedback?
I have a question. Is it in Good of the Whole's best interest to have our logo be used for the O? For Good of the Whole? I mean, because it. I'm just
there's
wondering.
another piece
Oh,
of
yeah,
it.
see, it looks better that way.
It looks better that way.
It's still not really. It almost needs the black or something. Or
Yeah, it just needs less bold after Ohana. I think Ohana needs to be. Shelley, I think to answer your question, is it in Good of the Whole's best interest to use it as a logo? It's like Ohana Legacy Foundation is Good of the Whole. So I don't know what it means. Is it in the best interest? It's.
I'm just. Yeah, I just.
Yeah, what I'm working to do is carry the branding forward, so that because we are the same.
Yeah, as I looked at that, I was thinking if the Good of the Whole O logo and then Hana was italicized, so it was separate from Legacy Foundation, it would be much easier to decipher, but it looks like a brand and then Hana Legacy. So there's no union there. It looks like it's happening.
Okay, so we're working on it here. So I just want to say we're just kind of working on how do we, kind of flow through and hold some branding from Good of the Whole as it flows through to Ohana. So we'll continue to do that. And then one last thing that I'll throw in is that tomorrow on our call, we're going to have the founder CEO of one of the 3D printing companies that we're considering working with on our call to give us a presentation about their technology. So that's
Where are they from, Glenn?
they're in Boston.
In Boston.
The CEO's in Boston, but the company I think is maybe out of Russia. We'll see.
And just if I might add on while we're on the subject, I looked up, because hemp has become a pretty big thing in Colorado, and I was just checking to see if anybody was into the hemp blocks here, and I couldn't find anybody here that was into it. But I thought about even just throwing throw a line out and say, would anybody be interested in doing hemp blocks? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. And that's some conversation with Julie about hemp blocks too. So looking at building the interior walls with hemp blocks, hemp bricks. There's a company in Belgium that's taken that technology pretty far and looks good. But anyway, we're just exploring. It's moving along. But if we can be sustainable and grow our own hemp and make our own bricks, that lowers the cost for everybody.
My niece is in the hemp industry and she lives in Denver, and she might know lots of suppliers.
Yeah. And I've got a friend that's founded the National Hemp Association. And we've got a lot of those connections. But the idea is, so do we want to create a company or an organization, again, a nonprofit hemp brick company here on Kauai that would make our bricks grow, create an export business for our island, and not have to import the bricks and bring them in by barge. So just a ongoing conversation of what's good for the whole. So how we make that work for everybody. So I think with that, I'm complete. And of course, you're all welcome anytime for anything. So, and I'll forward you out the executive summary too.
Thank you, Glenn.
Sure.
So I just have a follow-up to that, because we're talking about the Good of the Whole logo as branding for Ohana Legacy. And if we, that's part of Good of the Whole. And I know that Pachamama Pajamas will be part, but there's no place for a logo particularly for that. So just something to think about. Are we going to brand down the road everything that will have that Good of the Whole logo on it?
I have a thought. Thank you for asking that, Linda. I just had this thought. When that logo was designed, it was designed as a sphere that looked like a dandelion head and literally have the dandelion seeds that go. It was under the Generative Alliance when we first started, and it was had 3 really cool little dandelion seeds that blow in the wind. You know, it's like when you finally go and they're all going. It had 1 left attached and several flowing. So we played with it, and I still have all those logos. And perhaps when we do, we can name our initiatives a good of the whole initiative or something like that. And we can then use the logo right under whichever logo that all of our initiatives decide as a brand that can be self-sustaining. But we could use the dandelion piece or the seeds as part of the initiatives that are coming under Good of the Whole, so that Pachamama Pajamas and Ohana Legacy Foundation and anyone else would have their own branding, and then it would be, you know, something with the seeds that are saying a Good of the Whole initiative. So I could play with that. I could bring those back. We've never used them publicly whatsoever with the seeds they're really gorgeous too. They're nice and dainty and fluffy, and it would be cool to just put that beside everyone's names, just that little tiny beautiful seed, and do something with it. So we could bring that back, which would be a lot of fun for Julie to play in that field for a while. So.
And our theme has been seeds so much, planting seeds, watching seeds grow, are the garden of the collective, the connection field. So I love that. I can see that.
Yeah. Very recognizable. And yeah, even the connection field is being that place where we've literally cultivated seeds and nurtured them and harvesting them. And yeah, so. Okay, I'll play with that and be happy to revive that image because it would be really cool. And then however the Ohana looks, it'd be a part of the Good of the Whole family or a part of the whatever it would be, that we would definitely put that right on the branding so that it's there all the time. And perhaps we want a little logo for the connection field at this point too.
Like a branch of Good of the Whole.
A branch of Good of the Whole, or yeah, we just need the language that feels good. A branch is natural, organic, and tree-like, and yeah. Okay, anything else for Ohana before we move forward? We got to keep Shelley awake.
Good. You've all got the executive summary in your inbox.
Thank you, Glenn. Okay, Linda, what was your calendar? Was it anything more than what we've already talked about?
No, it actually was the fact that Ruben George did not show up on Thursday night, and I don't know if he knows about that because this was so new. And then
Bill knows, yeah, Ruben knows, I think. And I think I told you during that time I went in and I messaged him,
and you
so
couldn't.
Brother Phil did respond and took responsibility for it. It was his fault, and some things came up and he blew it and he apologized. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he didn't respond until much later after everyone had closed out the connection field and was gone. So I should have forwarded that message to you, but I didn't. I forgot. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
We just went with the flow. And Sunday, there was something about Sunday. Oh, people were waiting for Brother Phil to be on Sunday, and because it was on the calendar and he wasn't. So there were some people who said, I thought he was going to be here.
Yeah, that was my fault, and I didn't have an extra set of eyes on the calendar. I took it out of the bottom part of the digest, so it wasn't there. You couldn't find it. Didn't say a thing about it anywhere, but I left it in the top part and forgot to take it out. And I also think people are just used to getting on, because some of the people that were asking me were like, oh yeah, I forgot, we're done, you know. So that was my fault. I didn't take it out of the top part of the digest.
So is he not going to do Sundays anymore?
He's done. He was done last Sunday.
Okay. Yeah, that's all that I had as far as the calendar. And Shelley and I will talk about, or whoever's on the team, who might host Saturday, because I've been doing that we'll talk about that.
Oh, wait a minute. Well, hold on. You didn't do Saturday. That was the poets was Imani and Jess. I set it up for Imani and Jess. You missed that. You forgot about that because we had that conversation before.
Oh, well, okay, we were all there. So,
Right, but Imani knew that she was doing it.
okay.
Because because she's on the Jaguar Wisdom Council. Anyway.
Okay. And a lot of children are coming in, which I love.
Yeah, that was nice. Yeah.
That's all I had about the calendar.
Do you want to give us an update on the Mentoring Stewards page, Linda, since that was brought up?
Yeah, it's coming along at the Mentoring Stewards page. So there's the list of who is paying, and that list is just about complete. And then there are the bios and the descriptions for them. And I've gotten all kinds of interesting things. But I'm trying to keep it around 200 words, 250 max, and a picture. And I'm compiling that. I can get that to you or Shelley. To Shelley?
Actually, to both of us. Just if
Okay.
you can send it forward, and we're going to get it up hopefully by Wednesday.
So I mean, all you basically need is picture and dialogue. You're going to put it in. I'm not designing it with any particular font or anything like that, right?
Right. We just need the picture and the bio and
The
any
links.
the links to their own personal website, whatever they want. And if the picture is as close to square as possible, that'd be awesome. I'll edit them all. I'll have to change them. And then we did add 1 or 2 new mentoring stewards this week. So I'll need to
I
check.
think I sent them already to Linda, unless it happened while I was away.
It happened while you were away. Just somebody and
I saw
I
a
think
note.
there were 2. What?
I think Shelley sent it to me. There was somebody new. I forgot her name.
Yeah. So Julie, usually I've just been taking. All I do is send it, whenever that comes in. I've just been sending it to Linda.
Okay. Well, just look at look in your email box then. And we have 1 new that I know 1, maybe 2 while you were gone came in.
Did you send it?
So Linda, we can talk. I think we need to let's just set up a time to talk tomorrow, maybe.
Okay.
And go through that list, and then we can start to put it up.
Great.
Us how to do it, or whoever, Julie.
Good. Well, we have a 1 o'clock Connection Field team
Yeah.
call, so we can do it either before that or after that.
Okay. Thank
Just
you.
before you get off this, Julie, just a question. Did you anything further with the calendar in terms of actually having a calendar that can be easily seen by people?
I did not get a hold of Scott McLaughlin over the weekend. He was out. I haven't checked today to see if he got, but I'll just let everybody know the idea right now is to put up just a single page out in cyberspace with the actual Google Calendar so people can access the descriptions, and then it would take you out of the Good of the Whole Nation Builder website. So you won't have a click on your tab and keep going. It will literally take you off site. So we're looking at ways to integrate or begin to migrate our whole website over to a WordPress site. So that's what I was working on.
But Julie, can it it can take them off, but at the very bottom of the calendar, it can say there can be a click back, click here. I mean, a lot of websites do that. Click back to to go to the whole.
Yeah, we would just put a link at the bottom of the page that would migrate you back. Is what we
Yeah,
do.
fine.
But it would but it literally won't be on site. It'll be a tab, and then you'd have to click again to go back. You wouldn't be in the same place you are.
I find that there are a lot of websites that do that. I've had that happen.
It also makes it easier for you to then put it on your new website or link it in the same way.
The question I have for Scott is there a widget that works better than Outlook or better than a Google Calendar? Because then it's a fully integrated into our new website. Instead of it being an embedded Google Calendar, it would be something that's very functional on the page. So we'll see what he says.
Yay. I think that's going to be such a blessing as soon as we can do that. That'd be so great.
Yeah.
Yay.
And then I was wondering about the new description that we were working on for mentoring stewards as a marketing piece that we were to put on our website. It's like, why become a mentoring steward? You know, what does that mean? And that cost, you know, we talked about a cost and maybe a couples rate. And so if we've gone any place with that.
I've reviewed it. Has anybody else reviewed it? My question, I think I said to all of you, was it still feels a little bit long. And we have the 2 places on the website that it goes. And you're both like, yeah, put it in one place. But that one page where you sign up, it's way too long of a description for that one, for the membership site page.
To me, I think one is a document that people get, you know, as they're getting like the hosting doc, that's a whole document. And the actual mentoring steward donation page, that's it to take, just, you don't need that whole thing there, but you can have a link to that fuller document, you know, fuller information. Because I went over it. I mean, I don't know what at the very end, Glenn, that you've changed, I'm not sure, but I mean, I don't think it changed very much. So for me, it felt really clear and right on, and gave them enough information, but not more information where people donate. I think it has to be just shortened with a link, you know, read more about becoming a mentoring steward. So I don't know, that's where I was at when I read it.
Well, the idea of that is that would be more attractive to bring more mentoring stewards in, which would improve our cash flow. So we just need to get that implemented some way.
Yeah, I think it could be on that page, and we can shorten it for the membership. I have to compare it side by side to see what you cut or shifted. But for me, it wasn't like it wasn't like, oh, wow, this is so succinct. It was like the same language just moved around, and it didn't feel shorter to me. But we do need to shorten the membership site page just to the basics. And maybe it's like, here's what it is, go here to read more, and it would take you back to that page that's already there. So we can, yeah.
Feel free to edit away, or, you know, I'm okay shortening it up some more too.
Yeah.
I mean, we probably at least cut it in half from what it is currently.
That's nice to know, because it didn't feel like it. So I'm glad you cut it in half. I'll go look at it again.
Where is it right now?
Just
Is
on
it
our
on the-
website.
Okay.
Just,
Are you asking for the new document that's
Edit.
not website? She needs to have that sent to her. Can you send it to Sharon? I don't think she's has it.
Well, if it's on the website, I can look at it there.
It's
well,
not on
that's
the
the
website.
current
Not there
document.
yet.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Yeah. No, I don't think I've seen it then.
Okay.
I bet I can send you one.
Perfect. Send her one. Okay, let me just give a brief update on World Unity Week, our Wholeness Day. And by the way, World Unity Water Day is Wednesday the 24th, with Shelley Ostroff and so many friends. Dr. Emoto is going to be on. Is it Dr. Emoto or someone from Dr. Emoto? Is Dr. Emoto still alive? Is he still alive? Shelley's going, no. Is he not? Someone from the Dr. Emoto Institute's coming on. I mean, she has a whole lineup for a huge part of the day. It's beautiful, and she's asking Go to the Hole to be a significant part of that. Loving Waters has been there. And so Shelley and I will be working with Shelley Ostroff and Jan to expand our presence for World Water Day, which is Wednesday. And then the Thursday was to be the Wholeness Day. And what has happened, which the schedule that we talked about and everything that we've done, I said to Ben, do I really need to sit and enter each one of these things in separately? Can't you just, like, we give you the schedule and here's what you're going to average? Why would I be putting each individual offering in all day long and then all week long. And he's like, oh no, you just, and he handed me to his assistant and linked us up and said, she could just tell you and you could just communicate what you have. And I'm like, great, because we'll fill the day. And she said, oh, you can't fill the day. We already have it filled. And so she sent me 3 options, that 1 2-hour session and 2 different 1-hour sessions. And I said, well, that's not what we talked about, but okay, I'll take all 3. And she said, well, you can't have all 3 because I'm putting Bob Atkinson in this copy. And now Bob needs to have an hour for the new Evolutionary Leaders book. And he's going to talk about that for an hour. And I said, on Wholeness Day. So I said, okay, I'll take the other 2. And she said, no, I'm going to give you this hour. And she didn't give me the 2 hours, but Ben was copied in on all this. And Ben's like, I think her name is Arena, Irina, Arena. And he said, Arena, I already told Julie she could have the whole day. And she said, it's booked. And so he said, Julie, Arena and I will work over the weekend and we'll try to get something done. And then he sent me another brief message yesterday and said, we're working on the calendar. So when we went from a full day of It's Wholeness Day on Thursday, now we're at maybe we have an hour. Even when I said I'll take all 4 hours and that would be adequate, we'll make it work. And she gave it away. So I have no idea what is going to be happening at this point. And I need to give him a little note saying I'm going away on Thursday and won't be back. So I need to know right away so we can finish this. So that's the quick update on World Unity Week and our Wholeness Day. Any questions, comments?
So we don't know what hour of the day and how and what format. We're just going to have a Zoom room and what?
We can put all the connection field up we want, and we individually have to go in there and upload that. But as for our Wholeness Day, I really don't know if we're going to have a Wholeness Day or a Wholeness Hour, or hopefully, I said I need at least a 2-hour block for our Experiencing Wholeness offering. And then we've got this and this and this. And I literally labeled and gave an idea. The other thing I thought of this morning was asking Catherine Skaggs to do a live art for us on that day too, of wholeness art, which would be so cool for her to do. But so yeah, I don't know. As of right now, I have no idea what's going to evolve out of that. Ben feels horrible. He feels sick, and he can't believe she scheduled all these people in. And I think what he's doing is having her try to move them out of the day, but I don't know what's happening. So it's about almost morning time for him. So I'm going to send him another note here and we'll see what evolves. And sorry, my dog's barking. She must be on my bed. I don't know what she's doing in there, barking. But
Wants a treat, Julie.
she's on the bed. She's not where she wants a treat. So does she want to go night-night? Do you want to go night-night? Go night-night. She's on the bed. I don't know. Barking. Oh, that shut her up. I gave her permission to go night-night and she shut up. Perfect. Thanks, Shell. Anyway, that's my report on World Wholeness Day. Oh, thanks, Boo. So that's
So
that.
this World Unity Week, they have their own platform, and you were going to have a day on their platform. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay. So in terms of what we're going to do with the connection field, you've talked about everybody kind of holding the theme. Is there anything different that's going to be happening during our week?
With our week on is potentially tying water and unity on Wednesday, which Shelley will report on later. So I think, are you going to meet with them tomorrow by yourself, Shell? Okay. And yeah, so the World Water. The idea, Sharon, is that there's a main stage there's an 8-day World Unity Week. And during the 8 days, we were invited to do the whole day on their platform on the main stage, along with what we're already doing on the connection field. And that's what got messed up. So no changes for our offerings on the connection field.
Yeah, but we need to start for tomorrow, we need to add the World Unity Week, more info into the digest.
And we don't have anything that we could put in as of today.
Well, I think we need to clarify about Jose.
We need to clarify Jose, and we still could put in go to the main stage. I don't even think they've published their calendar yet, have they? Has anybody been on there to see? Let me go real quick. Okay, Boo, we hear you. We all hear you.
So Shelley, was Jose, is Jose continuing to do the
Well,
9 a.m. thing
he's
on
sorry. He's going through Unity Week, and I have to ask him. But the idea to me was that people from the Unity Week come to the connection field to have the experience of the fire, and he had already agreed with that. Now there's a little bit of kind of some strange, it's not clear, to me. I'm not getting a clear read on what they're asking from Jose. They wanted like a 3 to 4 minute Mayan calendar reading, but I think he's holding to come to the connection field, and hopefully he's going to. So yeah, I don't, I'm kind of just tuning in. I don't know enough, but I'll get a hold of him.
Is he, is the Mayan fire ceremony in the morning kind of going on indefinitely, or is there some period of time that Jose's?
To end it on in 5 days. Then he agreed to doing the World Unity Week and holding to that. And I'm going to talk to him about how he's going to hold that and how we can make it more focused. Maybe even a little bit different than the way he's been doing it. Just, everyone just introduce yourself to the fire. I think maybe we need to come up with something as I'm listening right now, it feels like we need to come up with something very focalized and directive so that the energy comes back to the connection field, and also that it's focused on unity. So, and if he agrees to doing the Mayan calendar reading in the beginning, this is what I'm thinking, because usually it's kind of all over the place, but if he agrees to do the Mayan calendar, I can record that and then shoot it over, depending on what's going to happen with them. But I guess I'm just feeling, as I'm listening, I'm feeling it feels very obscure, this Unity Week and good of the whole. It doesn't feel good to me, and not in a bad way that anybody's doing anything wrong here. It just feels like it's really wishy-washy, and it feels separate to me from good of the whole. And I think, Julie, you've done an amazing job and trying to get them to land, but I think we need to be actually a little more firm about it. Like, hey, I don't know, it just feels a little bit, it feels separate to me, and it feels, with all the work, this is how I'm feeling. I'm not saying it's true, but how I'm feeling in the moment, it feels like you're doing a huge amount of work for the water law and World Unity Week, and you're doing so much for them on your radio show, but I don't feel the reciprocity and I know Ben is trying, and Ben was wanting to, but how much Ben has with whoever else is holding the field, I don't know. And so it's just a question in me. Like, I just feel like I want to like hold that good of the whole has a value that's not being fully recognized. I get Julie Krull. Yeah, absolutely. But I'm just feeling like and I'm just putting this out to, the spirit of wholeness. Like, okay, so how do we weave the connection field without having to just put, there's hundreds of events. Like, to me, that's worthless. Like, I don't really feel like adding events into their Unity Week. It's like having 80 speakers and now there's 100 speakers. To me, I would rather just keep focusing on the connection field and building that rather than. So I don't know. That's how I'm feeling in the moment, but I'm also feeling, tired but I want to just, it's inviting me I don't know about each one of you, but it's inviting me to pay a little more attention, go over there and see what they're actually doing.
Well, I just went over there and there's nothing on the website for as far as the schedule. And I know it is the same. It's the same old paradigm structure of this huge online event, which bifurcates everybody because all of a sudden they're going, it's self-organized. It's like 7 days of rest, but it's like the first year of 7 days of rest when we couldn't figure out a pathway. There was no pathway. And it was like, everybody's doing their own things. And then everybody's just doing their own things to their own audiences, which perhaps will create greater coherence. And I just want to let you know that Ben is fully honoring of Good of the Whole and is fully honoring of being a co-creative partner with us and having us be a co-creative partner on their website. And they're going to be dealing with all that after this week and before the September events, and really give Good of the Whole a place on their website and what that looks like. And so he's fully there. I think I'll just be really honest and transparent because I've had several conversations with him lately. He's really tired. And he's where you were, Shelley, a couple weeks ago. He is at the place where he's not spending time with his children. He's not spending time with his wife. He's not spending time with his work. He's losing income. The COVID thing has affected everything. And he just has been confiding in me and sharing as a friend of just complete overwhelm and fatigue. And then holding up the Unity Week and Unity Earth banner for everybody else, but as a person feeling really vulnerable. So please don't repeat this to anyone. And he's also really in a deep query of what happens to Ben Bowler and Unity Earth after September. They've been working for years to do the Caravan of Unity, which was September 2020. That was the whole defining moment. And the Caravan is probably not going to happen at all. If it does, it'll be just this little wimpy small, not wimpy small, I shouldn't say that, energetically huge. If they move across the country, energetically the significance can be amazing, but it's not what he had imagined. And I think that he is in that place of what happens after September 2020. And I said to him,
so Julie, can I just say something right now?
Yeah.
Because I know he's got to go for something, and I know you got to go. I think we should just do a major shift and just go into your document, because I think like we need to focus on Good of the Whole. And I just think it would be really good to shift gears.
I was going to shift gears right after this.
Okay.
I just want to let you all know that I totally have openly extended an invitation for him to bring his energy into Good of the Whole and the superorganism, because he has so many gifts and abilities and a whole different level of work that he's very welcome to bring that into Good of the Whole. And I see a vision with him. So that's what I was leaving that conversation. And with that, I'm complete. So everybody good with that? So the piece of the document that I wanted to share, let me see if I can get this loaded on my screen. I have it still opened, which I should have. I have so many things open on my screen. I'm going to share a piece. I'm going to let you look over this document again, Yuval. I don't know how many times I've sent it out to everyone. We've never come back in and had a conversation about it. Everybody's seen it, and it's the document that literally we created it before we applied for the nonprofit. And at one point it was tweaked with the collective, and I don't remember when that was, but we tweaked it again last fall after our retreat, and then again this spring. And so I want to bring one piece out, because this document, this business plan that's here, really is the grounding force of the nonprofit and how the nonprofit came through. So I'm just going to share the screen. I want to show you. Let me explain this first. So the way that the organism presented itself to be born as a nonprofit, painful as it is, putting the new wine in the old skins, which we resisted for years. Shelley and I resisted for years. Linda remembers this because she came on early on. We resisted for years. Then Glenn came on and he knows we resisted for years. And then John came on and he knows, and Sharon came on. So we really resisted putting the old skins onto the new wine. It was like, we're an organism. We don't fit into the regular tax laws that make us be an organization. And finally we landed on the nonprofit, which means we have to have an organizational structure. So the way that Good of the Whole is structured, and I just want to be really clear about this because I know that some of you haven't understood the organizational structure in the past, that as a small, very small local board, that the board of directors, I'm going to show you this in this document, the board of the directors is there to set policy and hire and fire personnel. And be fiscally responsible. So the board of directors is there to submit the documents, submit the reports into the government, and to hire and fire and create policy. That's what any normal board does. And the normal board gets behind programming, but really depends on committee structures to inform the board and to be informed by and toward. So the board is a very small local board, which is my family members. And the beauty of that is the ease that we have right now in doing whatever we want to do to move forward. And Shelley's not here to do this because Shelley had a misunderstanding about all this too, is when she consulted a friend of hers who's had a lot of nonprofit experiences, she was questioning why I would just have my family. My family wouldn't say, they wouldn't confront me or do anything. They're innocent, of course. They're local, they're nonprofit, and they're here to really serve us in this capacity. So the board oversees the advisory council, and this is who you be. But the advisory council structure that we have are 13 specific tasks and vital functions, which is an old Barbara and term that we used in the Mentoring Stewards, vital functions. So I don't like to call it that anymore. But the advisory council really governs these 13 tasks and oversees that, and then recommends to the board and reports to the board and works with the board to carry out the mission and vision of Good of the Whole. So I'm going to share the document and just show you what I mean by all that, so you can clearly see and feel and get what we're talking about when I say that. The beauty of this structure is that many of you in your capacity serving on this board could move into paid positions. Let's just use Glenn, for example. I would hope Glenn wouldn't do, I have to take this off because I don't want to screen share it for a second. I would hope that Glenn would get paid to oversee the Ohana Legacy Foundation. And if he's raising funds and gets a line of credit and both, I'm gonna say both, we're raising funds, we're getting donations, and we're getting this line of credit set up, Glenn would have a salary. So instead of saying Shelley's on the board, John's on the board, Linda's on the board, Sharon's on the board, Glenn's on the board of directors, all of a sudden we have this huge conflict of interest that we have these people creating programs and services that should get paid who are governing themselves. So we are not the board of directors. And the board, I am a board of directors, and I can get paid, and we all could get paid. But to simplify how this works, we become the advisory council, which will be leading different functions and then be remunerated for those functions. So I want you to find yourself within this advisory council and feel this advisory council and look at it, and then perhaps there is some tweaking to do on this as far as the functions, but I want you to see yourself within this and understand that the way it's structured really is to lift all of us up in our highest gifts and capacities to serve. And so let me just show you again, come back to this share screen. So I'm not going to go into detail with this. I know it still needs tweaking. This, the history and purpose of our story is there. And after our retreat, Shelley said, you need to put the hoops story in here. And we need to talk about the hoops and how the hoops came in, the fairy ring and all of that, and what we did at the retreat last fall. That's not in here. It should be in here. And it will be. We'll update this. So you can look at that. We, you know, it's vision, mission, we have this, almost all of this is stuff from the website that you've seen. I'm going to let you guys review it, read it on your own. We can come back and bring it back up next week again. You've seen that one. It's on the website. You've seen this language. So all of this is just stuff we've talked about. It's all in one document here. Our current programs, future programs, future plans, you can look at this. I want you to look at this and go, yeah, we're already doing this. We're working on this. These are things that are happening. All of this, so what is this business plan for? Literally, if we do want to go borrow money, we need a business plan. Literally, if we want to apply for grants, we can hand this document to a grant writer and they'll be able to pull pieces and then work on the special programming that we're applying for. If we want to do fundraising with a formal fundraiser, which is in this plan, yes, we want to do that, then literally we need to have fundraising materials that are produced that they can hand to a philanthropist and say, here's Good to the Whole, and here's some programs that you would be interested in. So all of this feeds this ability that we can go and hand a beautiful packet of information that's full of visual imagery and gorgeousness and yumminess, and they can hand that to a philanthropist and they go, yeah, I want to help because I love these programs that I'm seeing. So look this document over and feel into it. But so here's our executive summary. Again, how we're structured, what we are, you guys can look through it. The leadership team, I'm just going to go into this. You can read it. Our board of directors, our advisory council. We talked about the resonance council, the wisdom council, and the community coherence circles, which are the local hubs that we're talking about, which we can always change the name, but that's still in there of how we've looked at it, and the greater community. But this piece is what I want to go over. So you've all seen this before, maybe perhaps not Sharon, but the five of us have, that this is the organizational functions and the leadership committee. The language has changed several times because we had it being guardians and not stewards, and that wasn't working. Or custodians, I think we used custodians. That's what we used instead of stewards. So we've changed the language. Here's a description of all of these committees. And I just want to show you the sacred geometry that here are 13 committees within our organization. And there's room for 5 extra people at large. So look at these circles. If we look at what's missing here into the whole circle, there's room for 5 more at-large members that aren't a committee chair on our advisory council. So that gives us the capacity of 18 members on an advisory council, and 18 equals a 9, which is a good complete number of having our advisory council. So I just want to go through these so that I'm going to read just a few. So I'll read the first one for sure and read a few more, and then we can look at how does that translate when we look. Now, I don't know what I hit, but I literally got you all off on my screen, so hopefully you're still there. Now I got Sharon on, so I know someone's there, so we're still in. So the primary resonance steward you can all look at the, I'm just gonna, if I say primary residence steward, who would that be? Oh my gosh, you guys.
Shelley,
Ellie.
Shelley, that'd be Shelley.
Bell.
Shelley,
Shelley.
okay. Okay, thanks for being responsive. This is a responsive hour. I'm not gonna, okay, go back to screen share. So I just wanna share. And again, this can be updated. We're not gonna spend tons of time tweaking and making sure it's perfect. It just needs to have the gist of what's happening here. So the primary residence steward coordinates weekly Global Heart residence calls, coordinates daily Facebook Live residence. We talked about that a long time ago. Develops, coordinates, and conducts residence education and trainings, develops and coordinates residence radio, develops and coordinates the connection field, coordinates the residence council. And if you notice, I just want to see your faces. Every advisory council person that's overseeing a function has a council of the membership. So Shelley has the residence council, and now she has a connection field team. But everyone, so if you think about any nonprofit organization, you have the finance committee, you have the buildings and grounds committee, you have the da. So think in terms of you're leading your own council, your own committees, and then you're reporting to the board of directors so that you're over a function that's happening within Good of the Whole, and you have a lot of people helping you that are volunteering and serving in that capacity. So that's an example of the resonance. Does anybody have a question before I keep going? Because I want to read a few more.
the only thing is I have to go. I have to be in another city in about a half hour. But before I go, let me just say, because I did read through this a couple times
We're good.
for our meeting here today. And I'm really thinking in terms, and Glenn brought this up a little bit, for someone to give the $15, $25 donation, what is possible for them? There's so much possibility in here for them that will eventually come into a paying position. Just like all of these marketing activities that we haven't gotten to yet. I know people that are in our residence call, on our residence calls, that I could plug into this and they could do it. But then as the organism grows into a profit making, even though it's still a nonprofit, but expansion, a lot of people are basically going to get employed through this in the new paradigm employment. And so I think everything that's in here being said through the new evolutionary model, self-organizing everything, but then weekly whole conversations, weekly whole perspective, speakers bureau, outreach program. There are people that were already working with us that would be perfect to get plugged into that. In order to get that, you got to start as a mentoring steward and learn the process and resonance and so forth. And then our organism can grow. And so I think it's a great marketing thing to get this out once it gets concise to everybody and go, how can you not only plug us in, because we can only do so much, but we have resources that are coming in now of incredibly bright and creative people that can really start popping, I think, for Good of the Whole. And I got to go. Thanks all.
Thank you, John.
I leave with that. Love you all.
Bye.
Julie, I have a client coming at 5:30 too, so I'll need to pop off at that point when she shows up.
Okay. Is she showing up at your house?
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll be outside. We're going to be coaching outside and or swimming in the pool, just depending on. She's also a friend. So it's like kind of, are we doing coaching today? Or are we being friends and just going in the pool?
I love it.
It varies.
Okay. So I'll just go back to that document and just overview really quickly again so that everybody feels it, and then you can all give feedback later. So just looking at this, the primary education and events steward. Shelley and I talked about getting the education going. Who's going to coordinate that? So you can read through this. The primary community and mentorship steward. so that there is someone that's dealing with all of the community members and the mentoring stewards and working with them and creating community and building community and responding and getting the bios like Linda's been doing and getting that communication going, because literally this document says we want 1,000 of them. That's a lot of people. And so how do we keep them engaged and what have you? The primary resource and research, I said it backwards, steward is taking care of that resource tab and looking at what we have in our toolbox, what's ours, what's externally, how do we support that resource repository that we've always been. Who's really good at that? I have a few people in mind who are really good at that. They're not mentoring stewards yet. The primary website and technology steward. So that person is helping us migrate off of the Nation Builder site, but they're also looking at what kind of communication technology do we need? What kind of educational technology do we need? What kind of social media and what do we need? So that person takes care of all the technology. And then the primary communications steward, which is obviously doing internal communications and external communication. This is the central nervous system of the one planetary body, the superorganism. They're acting as that central nervous system, getting communication out and receiving communication in. Sharon has offered to do that right now of taking the support at Good of the Whole email and being a first responder to that so that it takes some of the pressure off of Shelley and I. The primary arts, media, and entertainment steward. I have a few people in mind for that. We've talked about really activating, and you can read into this. This is my love and passion. I can't wait to get this one going, but it's, you know, you can't do everything right now. I can't. The primary networking and relationship steward. This is the external networking. This is the superorganism that's built outside of us within the superorganism that's within us. So it's like, how do we continue to build those relationships and keep people networked and working on that external flow? I'm making hand signs and I don't think any of you can see me, which is kind of funny. Then the primary finance and development steward. You can see me?
Yes.
Okay, that's cool. Primary finance and development steward is like our finance committee, and it's like our grant writing committee and our fundraising committee and our anything that has to do with money is under that finance and development steward who's working to continue to generate funds and look at our longevity and our health and fundraising campaigns and crowdsourcing. And we have a plan that's been outlined in this document for that. Our primary volunteer and service steward. So much like what Shelley just created with the connection field team, we need an overall volunteer coordinator that's working with all of our volunteers and working on people who want to give and do stewardship and do service. The irony is that our Nation Builder site asks people if they want to volunteer, and we have this whole list of people who have said they want to volunteer, but we don't have a volunteer coordinator, a steward that can give people jobs and hold people in, and it's much like what's been happening around the connection field, which is beautiful. So you can get a feel for what does that steward do. The primary social media ambassador, which we probably could call the primary social media steward, but literally this person has a committee of other ambassadors that really understand, I can do Instagram and I'm going to upload and I can link, and we can literally get Hootsuite or another app where they're literally uploading to everything at the same time, even LinkedIn, and we're using LinkedIn better, we're using Pinterest better, we're using Instagram better, so that we're really coordinating with every media outlet out there that's social media. And then they're training people how when we go Facebook Live, the social media ambassadors come out and they're holding space and sharing and putting it out there and creating conversation right there on the page within that, so that we're getting more people in to see what we're offering here. Then the primary visioning and leadership steward is much the person who's going to really coordinate that mission driven, that vision, holding the vision and creating a coherence between everything we're doing on the inside with the long-term vision, the long-term vision, the far-sightedness of who we'd be on the planet. And then the 13th is the special project development steward. And I think of Glenn when I think of this. But it doesn't have to be Glenn, and Glenn can totally feel into this. But think about Glenn doing the initial work for the DBAs and doing the initial work of setting up. And Glenn has said to me, show me what you did with the DBA, and then I can do all of them moving forward. Well, that's a special project development steward that can help do the foundational work to get all these functions up and going when Pachamama Pajamas or somebody totally that's not even identified now says, I would like to bring this project into Good of the Whole. So we're doing a trial run. It's kind of just like everything that Shelley said about the connection field. When you talked about, I don't remember how you said about the imperfections. When I describe the connection field, I just say it's really, we're co-creating in real time. That we're just listening and co-creating and listening and co-creating. And the same is happening with these functions, and the same is happening with the Ohana Legacy Foundation, bringing that in, is we're co-creating in real time and listening to the organism. And that, in my mind, is a beautiful thing. And I don't even see it as imperfections anymore. I see it as just the new synapses coming forward and hooking up, and the neurology, like literally hooking up different organelles as they're developing. So with that, I'm going to just open it up for any comments. You guys can all read through the document again, but I just want to be really clear that what has been designed is really clear, and I appreciate what's here, and I will love any feedback that you might have as well of how that feels on the receiving end of it. So I talked fast. I take a breath, and anything, I'm open to your
Julie,
feedback.
hey, kudos to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was a lot of work put together. And oh my God, you know, I am now seeing Good of the Whole have that structure, have some form. I think it's fantastic, because so much has grown from when we first were like, well, we're a mothership. We know what we want to do. But, you know, we've put ingredients in, and you've made it into this document that now is, you explained everything. I absolutely could follow you, and I'm really excited that Good of the Whole has structure, even though we're not, you know, let's not say it's old wine. Let's not say it's old skin. Let's just say it's a whole new vineyard. And, you know, we're growing the grapes, and we're making the wine, and, you know, it's all new, and it's really tremendous. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
Yeah, and Julia, what I'm seeing, because this really is the first time I'm kind of seeing the whole thing, and I've gotten bits and pieces as I've come in, as I've looked at the website, as I've talked with each of you, but you and Shelley and then this board have been holding all of this, is very clear. So you're doing all of these 13 functions right now. So no wonder you're all a little tired, a little like, oh my God. But I see that picture now, and I understand where you're, if this is, I guess, what you would then talk with your fundraising people about, in terms of, here's our goals, these are the pieces, they are actually happening in various stages, but we really need to get some dedicated personnel in to, you know, hold them further and fund us to be able to do this. So it's kind of making more sense to me. And I don't know, Shelley, was this shared with the person in Florida that you talked to about fundraising, or is that a next step if you're even going to go there? Because I know you and I, Julie, we talked about like next steps being you talking to your local fundraiser who can do philanthropic things, but that there would also maybe be different kinds of fundraising that the person that Shelley had talked about in Florida is more like a social media type of fundraising. You GoFundMe or something like that.
Shelley's person isn't a fundraiser. She was an organization consultant kind of capacity, and we're still trying to define that. And just so you all know that in the document, I think there's 6 or 7 different kinds of fundraising that we have in our plan. And I think Sharon, I said one to you the other day that I don't think I have in the business plan. And I can't remember what it was. I don't know if you took any notes, but I went back to our notes and I'm like, I didn't write that down when I was saying, we have the local events, we have
Hold
the,
on.
you know, and I went, do.
Yep, come on in. Hold on. Sorry.
That's okay. So if you took any notes, Sharon, let me know.
So we've got a lot going on here for sure. And it struck me that it's a little obtuse what the advisory council role is. And I'm wondering if
Bye,
that,
Sharon, thank you.
if the advisory council really ought to be something like a new name, like the leadership team, in terms of our role. One thought. And then another one is that the fundraiser that I've got is ask me if we have bios for our board of directors. That any grant providing organization is going to want to see the bios of the board of directors. And so that's something we need to create, I guess. And maybe we need bios of the leadership team, or that, you know, it's like, okay, so what are you know, how does this structure, how do we present this structure out to grant providers that are used to seeing grantees have a certain, I don't know, have a certain structure. So there's that. That's all.
So I want to know, do I have permission to share this with Marianne and Maria, this document?
Let me respond to Glenn for a second. So
It's tied to what the reason I was asking is it's tied to exactly what.
yeah, let me just respond to that real quick. I am totally open to shifting it to leadership team or stewardship team or whatever we want to call that instead of an advisory council. And in the long run, and I shared this with Sharon on Friday or Saturday when I met with Sharon, is that the board then begins to expand with some really high level, high visibility people. And so Sharon's like, I totally see people, Marianne Williamson, and, you know, bring in those people in that then have direct relationships with foundations across the country or the world, because those are the kinds of people that the board would expand into once we get this functioning, so that we literally have administrative support. And those are the kinds of bios that we want for grant writing as well. We can use our advisory council's bios, which also are the people who have helped, not advisory council, yes, we could use our own bios. And in the nonprofit application, we use the Wisdom Council, which we could change the name of them and those roles of people who were on early on, and we've used those bios. So in the application process, all of your bios were used, and as well as our Wisdom Council. I mean, this structure was used, and we put all those bios in. So that went into the application for the nonprofit. Does that answer your question, Glenn?
I think so. And all those councils and things are there, but I think that what my writer was asking about from a traditional grant writing thing is who's on the board of directors.
Yeah.
Just that. And it's like, so that's where sort of where the rubber meets the meeting, where the rubber meets the road. Everybody else is an advisor to that board of directors. And so I think is coming from a standpoint that says grantors are going to want to know that the board of directors is a competent functioning body.
Is there a conflict of interest since it's the Kroll family?
No,
Right now, no.
no, there wouldn't be. But that's just who our leadership, that is our leadership team, in the sense. And so we're all kind of sub-leadership teams to them. And just to honor that and respect that, for sure.
Who is on the board of directors? Can we ask?
Yeah, you can ask.
Do we get an answer?
You can get an answer. I was just wondering if it's in that document that I just gave you, which it may be there. I'll have to look. And if not, I'll have to put it in there. So I am the president of the board.
And
And
you've got a great bio. So, hey, I had nothing wrong with that.
and then my son, Cody, who has an amazing bio. And then my sister, Toby Hansen, and my brother-in-law, Jeff Kroll. So there are 4 members right now.
Yeah. So just spin up some bios.
Yeah.
You know, short
Well,
and
and that's
sweet.
the coordination between, as soon as we get the DBA informed, then we need to work on our reporting. See, it's like, I don't want to be an administrative assistant. And we really need to work on the reporting mechanisms of, now Ohana's going off and doing this. How do you get information into the leadership team and the board of directors and get it back out? And we have to work on all those structures. And like Sharon said, we're doing all 13 and more. We're doing all 13 and continuing to do even all the other, you know, sweep the floor and clean the windows and, you know, let the dog out too, kind of functions. So, yeah.
And as the DBA, I'll be putting a donate button on my website, you know, on the Ohana Legacy website. That'll go in through Ohana Legacy. So that'll be what people will see when they donate, and it'll come into the account. And we'll need to set that structure up in a way that's transparent.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm
Exciting.
gonna do
You're
all
doing
that,
stuff.
Glenn, so
Huh?
that you're leading the way for Pachamama Pajamas, because I said
Absolutely.
I don't, you know, I don't know about setting things up like this, but it'll all be in place, and
We're figuring it out. You know, the next right step.
I'm already networking with a lot of people who will help. So it'll be the next step.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Shelley, as far as your question, can you share it with Maria and Marianne? I don't have a problem with you sharing it, and perhaps if anybody here wants to read through it, make any tweaks, so it feels really good. If there's anything that's missing or not obvious, I could put the bios in. We have all the bios from everybody on the organizational documents. I don't know if it needs to be in here. Maybe a link to, if we got the pages up and going, we could link it. But yeah, these are the documents that grant writers need and fundraisers need, and all of the above. So we'll have to get that on.
And in the section of the website that's about us, there could be you could cut some of this out and call it the history, and you could call it, and another section might be, current leadership or leadership council, board, different, the different things that way, and put that in an about us section of our website.
Yeah.
And split that out.
Pretty quick, like what we have now needs to be changed really quick on the website, because it's really funky and it doesn't even describe you or me or the advisory council. I mean, I think we just got to get that, that's got to be really up to date.
We were going to put our story there, and then it got changed, and then we didn't get back to it, and it's really funky because most everything is on the home page, and then you go there and it's like benign. So we do need to shift that. I could even take that off for right now, but
even Wisdom, it doesn't make sense. It's like the Wisdom Council, like that name has got to be changed. Those are, in fact, they're more the advisors.
They're more the advisory council.
Yeah. So they're more like the advisory, and
do we want to be a leadership team, or do we want to be a leadership council, or do we want to be?
I'm not so sure about. I mean, I hear what Glenn's saying, and I'm not. I get to just.
Or stewardship team, the stewardship, because we're calling everybody stewards in there. You are the blank steward. The primary steward is what wasn't it? Primary steward?
Well, it gets a little confusing with mentoring stewards. We got a whole bunch of mentoring stewards.
But they're not even listed as mentoring stewards on the website. There's no specific.
No, they're going to be as soon as you get the paper. So that's done.
Right.
That's a done deal. That's
With the
happening.
mentoring, Stuart, I see us as a leadership council. It feels like in a structure where we're going after grant writing and asking for people. That feels more like we're the leadership council that advises the board of directors or works at the direction of the board of directors. In that sense, and then we have a wisdom advisor, or we have this advisory. We have this advisory council. We're a leadership council, then we have advisory councils for all these substructures, subheadings. And I'm reading your book. I'm reading this book,
Leadership
Teaming.
Council for good of the whole. I mean, I'm not totally clear on that. Like,
What'd you say, Shelley? I didn't hear you.
I said leadership council for, and I'm going to have to get off because I got to go get someone on Facebook Live.
I got it too.
But yeah, let's decide. Maybe we can,
Well, something that really identifies that this council advises the board of directors, and then we have these other councils that feed into us from the.
let's come to it. Maybe we can come to a decision when we come together on Monday. Like actually, like land this one because I think
Next
you're
week.
right, and I think it's really important.
Well, let's
But-
start maybe perhaps on that email. Someone can shoot back a response of let's do that so that John sees it and Sharon sees it. And we can have a dialogue in between there of what feels good. Is it leadership team? Is it leadership council? Is there a different word other than leadership? And we are a stewardship team, but we're a leadership team. And, so I'm good with that as well. Oh, and we're still recording so they can watch the end of this too.
Right. Can you send this out to us? This one?
You have it.
No,
Not the
report.
document. Are you talking about the recording of this?
Oh, the recording. Yeah. Sorry. I thought you meant the document.
No, the recording.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, this is a lot.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all
Back
right.
from
Keep
the
on
lake.
working.
Hello.
Good. Good. So, each of us has our quadrants. And so, we're just doing all, being our authentic selves and doing what we can do.
Please see yourself within that somewhere and identify yourself. And if you don't see yourself in there and you say, I'm one of the 5 at large because I don't want to do any of that stuff, you just have to tell me. But if you see yourself in one or more right now, jump into one or more. And you probably heard and said, oh, this is Julie, this is Glenn, this is John. You probably felt that.
I have to go because I have to.
Yeah.
I gotta go get these guys on Facebook Live.
Go.
Okay.
I
So,
love you. Thank you.
We'll talk tomorrow.
so if you see this as a leadership council of 12, maybe this leadership group of 5 or 6 is the executive leadership council.
It can,
Which
yeah.
we don't want 12. We don't want 12. I don't think we want 12 people on this screen working through the detail of what we're doing. You follow me?
I do follow you.
So if this team then needs to elevate a little more, maybe we're the executive council, something like that. And then there's a leadership, and then there's something below this.
So in a typical
Kinda goes-
nonprofit,
it's a pyramid kind of a strategy.
it would be in a typical nonprofit, it would be a CFO and a CEO and a COO and this is the president, vice president level functioning within it, which would be the executive leadership team.
Right.
So that would be the old language, and I totally get that response. And you're right. If we have 13 to 18 people, that's a lot, but they could
Yeah.
report in, and yeah. So
It's like they're reporting into us, but we've got to structure this as we're keepers of the whole somehow, so that we'll go down a lot of it'll just be unmanageable.
yeah.
The
The visioning keepers of the whole, I like that too. Never mind, I gotta go too. Keepers of
Okay.
the whole. Let's muse into it and everyone do their homework.
Okay.
Because Linda, thank you for your feedback on the document, and we've literally had it for years. It's literally been here and continue to be in formation. And I don't know how many times I've presented it and shared it, and it's just been, it's fell on flat ears. So it's like, you know, it's like, it makes sense to everybody. And they're like, oh, thank you. It's like, it's
Right.
just bringing juice to things.
But you've been the visionary, and now we can see this vision. We can feel it, see it. I can't wait to read it. And just because we've been so active with the connection field and we see what's being drawn in, it's like there's meat on the bones of the skeleton. And so now when we look at the document, it's like, oh yeah, that person. And we're still going to be meeting more people.
Yeah. There'll be
So-
more coming in.
Yep.
So
Just the
And I
time-
sent everybody the last version of the Mentoring Stewards attraction page.
thank you.
Yeah.
And
And
that's
isn't there
totally
some-
edited
John-
away.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. No, just it's all
And
up.
John is supposed to be working on the connection field training.
Right.
Is that right?
Right. He's
Oh,
doing,
Mentoring Steward training.
it's not a mentoring steward
Oh.
training. It's a,
It's how to get into the resonance of the connection of the resonance lounge or the connection field training.
I don't remember what they called it. Anyway. Okay.
But John was supposed to do that. So
Okay. John's doing it.
Alright.
Okay, so now I got to get in
See
my
you next
car.
week.
go.
I'll see you
Drive
next week.
safely.
Let's
Drive
see you.
safely.
Oh, we didn't even
Okay.
talk about my functions and people covering it. You might get a phone call. We'll see. Okay.
Ah, Well, you're going on a vacation, right? You're
Yeah,
off.
the only part we really need is someone that has an extra computer that could turn it on once in a while. But you're in the wrong time zone, Glenn. And
I'm way out in the time. Yeah, I'm crazy.
Yeah.
I'm
okay,
in your time zone. I don't have an extra computer.
you don't have it.
Aloha.
Okay, bye guys.
All
Have a
right.
great trip.
Talk to you later.
Have an awesome time.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.